Soy Rubén Vigil, jefe del área de comunicación y prensa de la Fundación Princesa de Asturias. Bienvenidos a la rueda de prensa que van a ofrecer a continuación Lucy Lake, directora general de CAMFED, y Fiona Mavhinga, consejera ejecutiva de CAMFED Association. La organización CAMFED, como saben, ha sido galardonada con el Premio Princesa de Asturias de Cooperación Internacional. Estamos por segundo año consecutivo desarrollando estas ruedas de prensa de forma telemática, con lo cual, para formular sus preguntas, deben levantar la mano físicamente, utilizar la aplicación digital que facilita la propia plataforma o pueden utilizar también el chat de Zoom. En primer lugar, las galardonadas les dirigirán unas palabras y a continuación abriremos el turno de preguntas. Gracias.
Thank you very much. We're thrilled to be here and cannot express how deeply honoured we are to be receiving the Princess of Asturias Award for International Cooperation. It really is transformative, particularly at this time and in the context of the global pandemic, to really be able to bring a spotlight to our work and to girls' education and young women's leadership in Africa. And we can't thank the Foundation enough for enabling this opportunity at this time.
We celebrate this award with communities across rural Africa who are champions of our work. We celebrate it together with 178,000 young women who have come through the CAMFED pipeline, who are now using their experience of going to school in marginalization to be able to reach back and support the next generation to go to school. So we're very, very delighted with this award.
Muchas gracias. Tenemos ya varias preguntas de María Fuello, de la agencia EFE. La primera, y realmente van dirigidas a cualquiera de ustedes. Si quieren pueden contestar las dos a cada una de las preguntas o las pueden repartir. La primera pregunta sería, ¿cómo ha cambiado la situación de las jóvenes en África desde la puesta en marcha de su organización en 1993?
Thank you. So CAMFED came into the rural communities of Zimbabwe in 1992 to really interrogate or investigate why girls were not going to school. And contrary to popular belief that girls were not going to school because of cultural reasons, the main reason for girls not going to school was because of poverty. And it worked with communities to say, if we are able to put together resources, can we be able to support girls? CAMFED started by supporting only 32 girls to go to school. But at the moment, as we speak, we have been able to support the education of over 4 million children to be able to go to school across rural Africa. The narrative for girls' education in our communities has really changed. There is a lot of support. You will see that mothers rally behind CAMFED to be able to support girls into school. Fathers are also coming together to support girls in school. The ministries of education are working with CAMFED very well to be able to support our girls to go to school. So the situation has really, really improved. And the fact that we now have an alumni network of girls that were supported through school by CAMFED, now working together with CAMFED, is very much endorsing the message of girls' education. Lucy.
¿Creen que la pandemia del coronavirus puede poner en peligro los avances sociales conseguidos en los últimos años?
I think the pandemic will have and is having a devastating impact on girls' prospects, and why it is so important, and at this time, that we recognise the urgency of supporting all girls to go into school and through school. And that's why that has been a real focus of ours over the past 2 years. And the networks that we have that Fiona described, the networks of young women leaders, the networks within communities who are reaching out and ensuring that those girls who are left vulnerable as a result of the pandemic, those girls who may be vulnerable to early marriage, are having the support within their communities to be able to return to school. And why we're so thrilled to see that of the girls who have been supported by CAMFED, return rates to school have been above 95% in all the countries that we're working. And that, I think, is a tribute to the networks that we work with and the level of support that is being provided to girls. And it's something that we all need to rally behind. And why this prize is so important in bringing a spotlight to that and bringing a global movement behind them.
Muchas gracias. María Fuello, también de la agencia EFE, nos pregunta, ¿qué opinión les merece el hecho de que haya países en los que se esté inoculando una tercera dosis de la vacuna contra la COVID, mientras en África hay un porcentaje tan bajo de población inmunizada?
I think there's a powerful message that everyone needs to hear, that no one is safe until everyone is safe. And in the communities in which we work, there is real inequality in terms of the resources that are available. And I think the inequality in the vaccine provision really exacerbates that. And so I think our message to everyone is that if we are going to achieve social justice, if we are going to achieve equality, if we are going to see the returns on social justice, the returns and the benefits that will be felt by all of us globally, then we have to put equality around the vaccine centre stage.
And to add that vaccine uptake in our countries is low, not because people do not want to take the vaccine, but because the vaccines are not available. At the moment a batch is available, it's quickly taken up by people who want to be vaccinated. So the same message that we have, that we really need to ensure that there is vaccine equity as well.
Muchas gracias. María Fuello también pregunta, ¿por qué en un mundo cada vez más globalizado África sigue tan distanciada del resto de continentes? ¿Qué está fallando?
I think we are closer together than perhaps maybe we think. What happens in rural communities in Africa impacts what happens globally. So that's why it is important for us to be able to support children who are growing up in marginalized communities, to support girls to be able to go to school, because we unlock the potential that has impact globally. So, for example, when we educate girls, we ensure that, they earn much more than uneducated girls. They have higher income earning power, and they reinvest their monies into their families, into the education of the next generation, and they create, an educated human capital for the rest of the world.
And too often, I think the messaging that has been coming out in relation to Africa is negative messaging. And I think for us to be able to bring a spotlight to the potential that is there, to the potential that Fiona describes around what's being unlocked by these young women leaders in our network. And that's why we value so much this award, because it does bring a spotlight to that potential, to the positive message that we want to bring for what's possible and what's possible across sub-Saharan Africa.
Tenemos una nueva pregunta relacionada con el avance de la tecnología. Ante un imparable avance tecnológico en todo el planeta como el que estamos viviendo, ¿la falta de acceso a estas herramientas en África aumentará aún más la brecha que existe respecto al resto del mundo?
So even before the pandemic, there was a huge digital divide, and it has just become more magnified or amplified with the pandemic, especially when we consider that the children that we work with are in remote rural communities where often their households are not connected to electricity and where they do not have access to internet-enabled gadgets. So when education pivoted to online learning methods as alternative learning methods when schools closed during the pandemic, it meant that this group of children were at risk of being left behind. And even when you consider that some lessons were being taken over radio or television, but in most of these households, I think the study that we did with children that we work with in Tanzania, for example, showed that only about 34% had access to radio, and less than 20% had access to TV. So these children were at risk of being left behind. But what we did with the network of young women that we work with was to those that are at the forefront of supporting continuous learning, even during school closures, was to look at what is it that we can do. They went on, downloaded revision materials, they downloaded exam papers, they photocopied them and physically distributed to children within their communities to ensure that they continue learning. So we really need to close this digital divide that is there. We need more investment in technology infrastructure to be able to connect everyone and make sure that we are not leaving anyone behind.
Tenemos una nueva pregunta. Insisten ustedes en que no basta con promover la escolarización de las niñas, también hay que incidir en el liderazgo. ¿Cómo se consigue ese liderazgo en las niñas?
So,
You go ahead. I'll come in behind you.
the support that CAMFED gives to girls is holistic. It's not enough to to buy uniforms and pay school fees for a girl to go to school. There are so many other barriers that might inhibit that girl's participation or performance or completion within school. So CAMFED then makes sure that they work together with communities to create a wraparound support around that particular girl to ensure that they work with her through the journey of education until they complete. And when they complete, they do not graduate into an isolation, but they graduate into a community of like-minded young women with a passion to give back in their communities, to support their peers, to make the transition into safe and secure livelihoods. We offer transition training. Through our sisters in the network who are taking up the roles of transition guides, we also offer them opportunities to serve their communities, so they start serving either as learner guides to support the next generation of children that are going to school in their communities, giving them life skills and resilience skills so that they too can be able to make the completion of their own education. And they also take up other roles in climate action. For example, we have young women who are serving as agriculture guides to improve food security in our communities, to improve nutrition. So you can see that through all these various roles, the young women are taking up leadership and really changing the narrative in their communities.
And just to add, I think, to emphasise Fiona's point, that it is about engaging everyone who has power and authority over girls' lives in the process of their education, so that they have the support system around them as they go through school, and that their success when they complete school is something that everyone has a stake in, that everyone can celebrate, and that creates the context in which girls can step forward as future leaders.